the children in the street, dying every day. We all look for something we can never find, and we all need peace of mind. Lonely wretch on the street, looking for love. $20 beneath the sheets. Is this all she thinks of? We all look for something.
3, 2, 1. Hey, Timmy, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, good morning. Good morning. It's a busy day today for me.
What you do? Get out of bed?
Yeah, I did.
busy
actually.
day. You've been retired for about 50 years, ain't you?
Yeah, well, look, we got a special guest coming on, right? Danny McCoy's boss.
Yeah, Danny McCoy's boss is coming on. Timmy, listen, I just want to go over this really quick because I want to set the stage now. Hey, everybody, thanks for joining Truth, Lies, and Political Bullshit. You know me. I'm Sean Morris, my co-host, Tim Thibodeau from the 5th Ward. So last week we were talking about Letitia James, and I think everybody kind of chuckled, man, because Letitia, she's not only the state attorney general, but she practices voodoo, right? Because this is a woman that took, if there was a crime, she took crimes that were well past the statute of limitations, somehow did some of her voodoo on them, turned them into felonies, and convicted a presidential candidate for overestimating the price of one of his properties. Now, these properties, Timmy, are worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, so I ran to New York City. I took a taxi down there because they said it was only worth 17 million, and I got a couple people who were going to go buy that thing, and then we found out they don't want to sell it because it's really worth about 200 million, right?
Yeah.
So old Letitia now finds herself in this little scandal. You know what that scandal is?
Sure do. Okay, mortgage fraud.
Oh, little Letitia took some property and undervalued it so she'd get a better rate on her loan.
Yeah,
and she said that, I don't even know if it's more disturbing, which is she then said she was married to her father. Now that could be possible with her. I'm not really sure, but I mean, it's kind of creepy if she's married to her father. But if she just said it to get a break, maybe Donald Trump was innocent and old Letitia was having nightmares about what she did and said, I better blame somebody else quickly because I may get myself in a jam.
Not only that, Sean, she says that her lawful permanent residence is in Virginia.
Well, that'd be great because then she would no longer be a pain in the ass of New York because she's really been a failure at epic levels without question. So now listen, we have a county executive in a county called Rensselaer County. His name's Steve McLaughlin, right? This guy is, hey, Danny, if you're listening, Danny McCoy, this guy is the real McCoy. And when I say that to you, I mean, this is the kind of guy that you want to drink a beer with, that you want to sit down and just bullshit with. He's a great politician, but he's a better man. He's a better person. He don't bullshit. He don't shake your hand and then stab you in the back. He just comes up and punches you one. You know if he likes you, you know if he doesn't, right? But he had some great concerns for Letitia. And so I want to put this video on really quick. I got to find it here, Timmy. There's Steve McLaughlin, a good-looking son of a bitch, isn't he? Better hair than Danny. I just told Danny he had the best hair in the business, but check this out.
Good afternoon, New York State Attorney General's office. How can I help you?
Hi, is Letitia there, please?
No, you will not get to speak to the Attorney General.
Really?
Can I help you with something?
Yeah, this is Rensselaer County Executive calling. My name's Steve McLaughlin. I'm up here in Rensselaer County. Just wanted to do a wellness check on her. She seemed to have a bit of a tough day yesterday and a bit of an unhinged rant. So we just wanted to let her know we're thinking of her and just want to make sure she's okay.
Where are you calling from again?
I'm the Rensselaer County Executive, somebody that she targeted with some of her lawfare, and we destroyed her in court. But I just want to follow up and let her know I'm thinking of her. Feel free to let her know I called. Steve McLaughlin,
sir.
Rensselaer County Executive. Goodbye.
It doesn't get any better than that, Timmy, right?
That's it.
The
That's
only
it.
thing,
That's it.
the only thing better than that is to bring Steve in. Hey, Steve,
Hey,
welcome to Truth, Lies, and Political Bullshit. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. It's going to be fun to be with you guys.
Well, it can't get any funner than where it just started, right? So,
Yeah.
Steve, I knew you had compassion. I mean, I know you're a tough bastard, but that compassion really shined on
Yeah,
that phone call.
I was
Well,
so
that's
concerned.
that
So,
was a classic, Steve. Classic.
That call went crazy. I think it's up around 75,000 views, and even 10 days later, everywhere I go now, people are laughing like that. That's
Yeah.
hysterical.
you
Loved it.
went
So,
viral, kid. It's not easy
Yeah.
to go viral. But hey, let me just jump into this for a minute, though.
yeah.
So you said that she practiced her lawfare on you,
Yeah, she sure did.
and
So, well-known story up in these parts, of course, but targeted me. It's funny to hear her say now that the DOJ is cherry picking. Meanwhile, they haven't even charged her with anything yet, but that's coming. I think they're saying they're cherry picking, but yet she went through 20 years of my life. Literally, even before I was in politics, 20 years of pouring through every single thing I had, and then lied to a grand jury, and then took a completely legal transaction, much like President Trump. I'm kind of a mini version of what he dealt with. Took a completely legal transaction and tried to turn that into a felony. It was not a felony. The person that I paid had tax returns on the money. He claimed it as business income. He could light that money on fire. He could do whatever he wants to do with the money. So she tried to claim that was a felony, completely bogus. What happened was go through a trial, cost me $150,000, and came back with the fastest verdict that my lawyers had ever seen in their entire careers. That's what they told me, and the jury came back in 30 minutes. And what really happened was 6 months later, I ran into a juror of all places in my driveway because there was a neighborhood yard sale. So I'm just hanging out in my driveway having coffee with my neighbor. This guy comes up. He's like, "Hey, Steve." I said, that happens to us a lot in this business. I said, "Oh, how you doing?" He's like, "I was on your jury, man." He goes, "That was the biggest bunch of BS any of us ever saw in our life."
awesome,
And we were done
awesome.
in 5 minutes. Everything was signed. And we just figured we had to wait a half hour to make it look good. So after her trying to turn my life upside down, destroy me, destroy my family, destroy my future, in 5 minutes, a juror saw through her BS and sent that case right where it belonged, which was right to the garbage dump.
Well, you knew everybody in the Capital Region reading it in the Trash Times Union newspaper. We all knew that it was bullshit. I knew best. I knew best because
Yeah.
they were doing the same thing to me.
Yeah, you've
They
been
can't.
through you've been through it, you know?
I've been through the ringer.
Yeah.
They tried to say that I used $12,000 over 7 years of campaign funds. I said, for Christ's sake, the campaign probably still owes me 30 grand because I was a small little guy. I wasn't raising a lot of money. I'm spending it out of my pocket. And
Oh,
as
yeah.
it came in a year or 2 years later, I'd say, "Hey, can I get my 1,500 for that? My 1,000 for that?"
Yeah,
And when they couldn't get me, they sent the FBI after me.
absolutely. And
And
all of that, recouping expenses, all that's 100% legal, as we know. Uh, Contrast that with Letitia James, as I call her, taking private jets, using her campaign account and public money for that, by the way, renting vacation homes in Martha's Vineyard on her campaign account, 100,000 in restaurant spending, which when you look at her, I could kind of see that. And then multiple trips to Puerto Rico, all using her campaign account. So as usual, what the left accuses others of doing is exactly what they're doing. And that's why they think to accuse others of it is because they're like, well, this is what we're doing. They must be doing the same thing. But none of that occurred in my case or in your case. It was all legal. And it's a shame that we've come to this point right now where if they don't like you, they will target you, much like she did with President Trump, where she campaigned on "We're going to get him." They
yeah,
targeted me. They targeted you. If you're the nail that sticks up, the left wants to pound you down. And I've been the left. I've been the nail that sticks up for 15 years
yeah,
now in politics.
we were both pretty nails. We were
Yeah.
the tall nails too. We weren't those little freaking. We were those big ones that you put into the deck.
Yeah.
But hey, Steve, you know what? I look back at it today and I say, screw them, man, because you know what? For me, they really put a beating on me. And I
Mhm.
tell people all the time, capital punishment really just means you have no capital, so you're going to get punished, right?
Yeah.
I ran out of money. I couldn't
Yeah.
fight that FBI. And
Yeah.
I just got custody of my daughter, and my life was getting put back together from a terrible time. And I said, screw it. I don't care. What am I going to lose? Politics?
Yeah, I think that's the story across this nation. I was saying that to someone just the other day that there's so many people that are probably sitting in jail innocent, but they didn't have the wherewithal or the financial wherewithal to fight. They had the guts to do it, but they didn't have the financial resources to do it. I was lucky in that I did, and I remember day of the last day of the trial. I think it was a 2-day trial. Absolute nonsense. And my lawyers came to me. They all do all those conferences, right? That you're not a part of when you're sitting
Yeah.
there. So they came downstairs and met with the judge. And the judge, by the way, was great. I mean, Judge Sober was fair, as I knew she would be. And they came downstairs and said, "Hey, we just got to run this by you. If you want us to, we can ask the judge to tell the jury they could charge you with a misdemeanor if they wanted to, but not find you guilty of a felony." I said, "I'm not pleading to a effing parking ticket.
Yeah.
I didn't do
Screw
a
that.
goddamn thing, and I
Yeah.
didn't raise my kids this way to back down." So I said, "No, I'd rather sit in jail innocent than plead to something I never did." And they said, "Well, we knew you were going to say that, but we had to ask." I'm like, "Not happening. I'm not pleading to anything. I did nothing wrong." And thank God justice prevailed. And when the trial wraps up, we're walking across to the Ruck to have a well-deserved drink in Troy, and my lawyer's like, "You got balls, man. You got balls." I'm like,
You
"Well,
do,
you
because
stand up and you do the right
Yeah.
thing. That's all you got in this life."
So my question
you
for you, Steve, is do you get reimbursed for your expenses?
No, which is disgusting, right? As she goes to try to get the
state.
taxpayers to pay her bills, and the state shelled out $60 million for Andrew Cuomo. If I had been in the state assembly, I'd get my
Mhm.
money back. That talk about a rigged system. The
Yeah.
legislature and the governor have it set up for themselves, but on the local level, truthfully, we could probably pass that law here in Rensselaer County. And the way the left targets us, we might just do that because who's going to want to run for office if the left is in charge of the state? Because Sean, you and I both proof positive, and Donald Trump proof positive. They don't like you, they'll target you, they'll come right at
Well,
you. If they don't have it,
look
they'll
at
lie.
there's no doubt in my mind, because I got cleared by all the state agencies, and then Cuomo called on me to resign. That piece of shit's running for mayor of New York,
Yeah.
fondling women,
Yeah.
killing people in nursing homes with his
Mhm.
shitty, crazy policies with COVID. And he calls on me to resign while he's fondling these women. And I said on the TV, I said, he's the biggest corrupt piece of shit governor in America.
Yeah.
And the next day, the FBI knocked on my door.
I
I
remember
know
you
where it
saying that, actually.
yeah,
I remember
yeah,
that.
I
It was
know where it
great.
all come from, right?
Oh,
Even when they,
100%. 100%.
yeah,
I
even
have
when
no
they came
doubt.
to my house, even
I
when
have
they
no
came to
doubt.
my house, they were like, "We don't want to be here," right?
Yeah, I know.
And we had a good judge too, because you know what? It's the first time that you've ever heard this come out of a prosecutor's mouth in the federal court when he says, "Don't judge this man on this particular incident because he's done a lot of great things for his community." He knew they
Right.
just can't throw it. Federal law is different, right? It ain't like the judge
Yeah.
just says, "Throw it out." It
Right.
doesn't work that way.
No, exactly
But Steve,
right.
I got to be honest with you. I was in a pickle. I was getting ready to sell my house because I'm like you. I'm going to fight till I die.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
then circumstance changes. I had to take care of my daughter, and I pled.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
it's,
went,
Well, you had the fall on the sword, Sean.
Yeah, I
I
could
did.
Yeah.
totally see that. And I tell you what, here's the irony of this, right? They come after me for $5,000 out of my campaign account, totally legal. Like I said, tax
Yep.
returns, I paid a bill, whatever. Now, meanwhile, God forbid that I pay somebody for working on my campaign. The guy, he's 24/7. My guy
Yeah.
works nonstop. And
hmm
every witness that they put up, the prosecution, was destroying their own case. The case was over within 5 minutes. Meanwhile, I had a staffer stealing from me, stole $25,000 out of my campaign account, gets arrested at the Schenectady casino using my debit card from my
Wow.
campaign, which I didn't even know I had a debit card for the campaign because I don't
Mm-mm.
touch my campaign account. They arrest
Neither do
her.
I.
She spins a tale, makes up all these lies, and as soon as she took the stand, honestly, the case was over because my lawyer's like,
you ain't testifying because I want as little distance between that jury and her as I can get because they hate her. And the jury's sitting there, their jaws drop when it was revealed that, hold on a second, you were stealing from Mr. McLaughlin? You got to be kidding me. $25,000. They don't even make her pay it back to my campaign. So she
Yeah,
just
yeah.
walks away scot free. Meanwhile, you come after me for $5,000. Now here's the rub. I'm paying legitimate campaign bills. Campaigns are expensive. I'm running for county executive, all that. Tish James to this day spends $10,000 to $20,000 per month every month with a company called Pitta Giblin. They should be looked at. Why is a sitting attorney general spending $10,000 to $20,000 month after month after month? Well, there's no need for that unless there's something nefarious going on, which I suspect there probably is, and I hope they dig into that. So, irony of irony, they come after me for $5,000, but there's no problem with me using my campaign money to defend myself.
Yes, that's what I was just saying. You could spend the money to defend yourself, right? It's a
Bizarre.
crazy shit.
It's
Steve,
nuts.
I got. First of all, I'm glad we're talking about this because I really never shared my story, right? People call me you're a thief, you're this and that. I was never accused of stealing nothing.
Right.
They said I took some campaign funds and misappropriated. They couldn't even tell me where I misappropriated. You know what they end up charging me with? They end up charging me with wire fraud. You know why?
Yeah.
They
An
said I
email.
took a. They said no. They said I took a $500 check that was made out to my campaign and I cashed it in my personal account.
Yeah.
And I said to them, well, I did because I said they made it out to the wrong name. My bank wouldn't take it. They told me I had to put it in my personal account. So I
Right.
put it in my personal account. I spent it on the campaign. What's the difference? I go, oh, you took $500. I raised $1 million.
Yeah.
I took 500.
Yeah,
Come on.
it's so insane. It's so insane.
Yeah.
But they get the headline, they get the big splash, and the public's not really invested in this, and they don't really dig deep. So we
No.
go through hell on earth. But at the end of the day, I think we both came out stronger.
Yeah,
And
I'm stronger,
I've
I'm
always
better,
been
I'm-
that guy. If you're coming at me, you freaking better kill me, because if you don't, I'm coming back at you with
Yeah.
much more than
Well,
you came at me.
I'm still standing. You're still standing, and at the end of the day, I'm a better man for it because I went through a whole host of things, but I don't even give a shit because I don't miss politics at all. I rather come on my show and talk about the corrupt politician pieces of shit. I sat in those back rooms. I know how they operate.
Oh yeah.
So when they say this is what we're doing, I go bullshit. You're not doing that. I know what you're doing. Hey, Steve,
Sean, too, it's funny is that they're so desperate to cover all that up that I think that's why they choose to come after people like us, to
Mhm.
try to make an example. Like I said, if you're the nail that sticks up, they want to hammer you down. If you're the person making noise and exposing their bullshit, they're going to try to come at you and silence you so that they continue on with their games.
Yeah,
there's
guys
no
like
doubt.
me.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I
Yeah.
said. Letitia James, everything that she did against Trump is actually everything she did. It's almost like if you made a movie about a mirror, she mirrored her own life
Yeah.
because she was probably trying to get that away from her. Because you got to know that if you do that shit, somebody who's going to hate you politically is going to dig into everything from the underwear you wore when you were a kid all the way to the girdle you got now. They're going to find every bit of shit. But let's jump over to something more exciting to me.
Yeah.
Rensselaer County is kicking ass.
Yeah, we're doing great. We're in year 8 right now, end of my second term, running for reelection. And, since we arrived, we've revamped this county. And I mean, it's such a long list, but I mean, there's 330 miles of road in Rensselaer County that are county road. There's state and town and all that city, but there's 330 miles of county roads. First thing I did when I got here was said, we're going to focus on our infrastructure because it was garbage. It had been neglected for about 25 years. So we began paving roads, and we do it correctly. We don't throw an inch of pavement down and call it a day, which is what they used to do around here. They'd say paint it black and don't look back.
Yeah, still do.
Yeah, so
Over
we
here.
grind the roads up. We do it correctly. Right now, as we begin paving season, we have 300 out of 330 miles done in 7 years. Never been done. We spend about $6 million a year on our roads. This year, we'll complete the last 32 miles. That will completely repave this county in 8 years. On top of that, $100 million in construction and rehab of our facilities. When I came in, our office building in Troy was an absolute disgrace. It was disgusting. It hadn't been touched since Carter was destroying the country back in the 70s. So we revamped that, put $25 million into that, $8 million in the building next door. We bought a new building in East Greenbush, $16 million renovation of that. We got 4 brand new senior centers, which are probably some of the nicest in the entire nation. And right now, that's just some of it. And then right now we're going to revamp every one of our highway garages. So it's just an endless list. But on top of all that, while we're doing that, I've got the tax rate 40% lower than when I took office. Our bond rating's the highest it's ever been. Our surplus is, I came in office, we had 20 million. We built it to 120 million. We're blowing the roof off of sales tax
Yeah.
because we're treating it like you're supposed to. I treat it like I'm running a business and I'm trying to maximize my revenue, minimize my expenses. And really, we're in the business of providing service to the public. But how do I do that? The way I do it is by expanding economic opportunity. So I'm getting it from two places: property tax or sales tax. It's much better that it comes out of sales tax. It means people are enjoying their lives, businesses being transacted. So came in office with 85 million, typically was our sales tax number. In 2019, we led the entire state in sales tax revenue growth, and now we're routinely over 120 million. So things are, we're doing great. We're kicking ass over here, and people are recognizing it.
I recognize it because you and I are friends. And I'm probably glad that all this happened to me. We may not be friends anymore because I was the labor representative for all of the workers at your nursing home.
Right.
So I'd have been trying to dig into your pockets. You'd be like,
Hey,
Sean, get the hell away from me.
That's business.
I would have
That's
been,
the way it is.
I'd have been, that ain't no grievance, Steve. What the hell are you talking about? I think it would have been fun, actually.
Yeah.
But I was there for like 11 years representing the workers at your nursing home. And to this day, Van Rensselaer Manor is still, top dog.
Yeah,
Still
wait
one
to
of the-
hear this too. We're imminently going to beginning. We'll be starting up a $100 million makeover of Van Rensselaer Manor.
Wow.
It's a 2-year project, and it's going to be unbelievable when it's done. Can't even. It cost 25 million to build that place 25, 27 years ago. It's $100 million to rehab. But when I tell you, everything's new: walls, windows, floors, furniture, TVs. The outside's getting painted that stupid mauve color. That pink is going. It looks like Barney threw up. I mean, it's a beautiful, gorgeous place, but it's 27 years old. It's dated.
I can't wait to see that.
It's going
because
to be unbelievable. It's going to look like a 4-star hotel when we're done.
I walked into that building a million times, man. It's and I used to say, boy, this is the best of the best. But man, if they only would fix the building and spruce it up, because when I was in the county legislature and I was the chairman of the legislature, they were trying to close down our Albany County nursing home. And when I was in the legislature and Danny McCoy was the chairman, him and I were the two votes that every time they voted to close it down, me and him were the two votes they couldn't convince to close it down. Because I believe in that mission, right?
Yeah.
And I was then long gone. I was the mayor of Cohoes when they finally built the new one. And do you know that I got a card in the mail from from all these people, hundreds of people, saying, you say, if it wasn't for you, this nursing home would have been closed, and look at what you helped build. You may not be here no more. And I talked to Danny about it on the show.
Yeah.
And he knows that we may not, even when he's long gone, I may be gone.
Yeah.
That nursing home and the care of those people are directly related to the fact that we wouldn't give in to the political will. They didn't get beat up by the FBI. I did.
And not only that, Sean, as I said, is that my wife worked there as an employee.
Yeah.
So that kept not only the residents in the nursing home, but the employees.
Well, I remember when you called me when they were going to close it. And I told you, I was never going to support something like that.
Right.
Steve, I want to jump into your
Dan.
Let me just say one thing before we jump, because thank God you did that. It is a mission of love and respect for our seniors.
Yeah.
And we often always say that, the crown jewels of Rensselaer County are Hudson Valley Community College and the Manor, and they're right beside each other, as you know. Very, very important facilities for us, and not too many counties, and I think to our credit and Albany County's credit, not too many counties around the state own and operate nursing homes anymore. And we do it with care and compassion, and they're well run, and the people are well protected. And I think maybe the best thing I'll ever do in politics is the day that I told Andrew Cuomo to stick his stupid, evil executive order, and we never, ever put a COVID positive senior into that nursing home.
Well, that's what I was going to jump into. I was just going to say, Steve, you're one of the few people that were smart enough not to take. Wait, let me just rewind this. You got this guy trying to get an Emmy, right? He's out every day holding these meetings about how to save your life, COVID, save your life, wear a mask, distance yourself, all the bullshit things that meant nothing.
Mhm.
And all along, he's got a policy basically putting seniors who had COVID back home into the nursing home full of the sickest people.
Yeah, it was
And
evil.
somehow, yeah, and then he tries to doctor up all the stuff and say it wasn't me, it wasn't me. You know what makes me fucking ill is that the people in New York City, Steve,
Yeah.
are voting for the guy,
Yeah.
and he may win.
He very well may win that
I may go
Democrat
down with a
primary.
picket sign soon, but he
He's
may win.
he's awful, and I hope he's getting some grief down there, but not nearly enough. This guy is
No,
dangerous. I've said for well over a decade he's a sociopath. He's out of his mind. He's the type of kid I always said, listen, he's the type of guy that'll punch you in the face as long as his buddies are holding your arms
yeah,
behind your
yeah,
back.
he's
One
not a
on
tough
one,
guy.
he's nothing. He's
He's
not
not a
tough.
tough guy.
He's a little
But
boy pretending to be a tough guy.
But we live in a world right now, Steve. Now, look, let me clarify this. I'm a Democrat still. Are you a Republican? And Timmy, I don't know what the hell you are. You're an independent?
I'm a registered Democrat.
Okay, so you're still a registered Democrat.
Yeah.
So first of all,
That's only so I can vote in the primaries. That's all.
Right.
I'm a huge supporter of labor unions. Always have been. Right.
Yep.
They built my house. They gave me a life. I was a firefighter for all these years. But two of the unions who came out and said Cuomo's got to resign for what he did now are saying we support Cuomo. Same people in power, same unions. And if you don't think that diminishes the union by saying this is how much we care about women, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's a bad move on their part.
Total hypocrisy, and they're just looking at their bottom line more than anything, probably.
That was my point. And then you got a world, Steve, out there. I want to hear your opinion on this. I mean, we have a world out there where the Democrats are justifying that a man could be a woman and he can go into girls' sports and he can, punch a girl boxing and they can they can
go in the little girls' restrooms.
They go in the restroom. They can race them in a race. They swim against them. What the hell's going on here?
Well, it's a sick and evil ideology. And I was fighting this fight when I was back in the state assembly. I've been gone 8 years now, but maybe 10, 12 years ago, I was having this battle with Dick Gottfried every year on what we called the bathroom bill. Had the same damn debate every year, which is why finally I'm like, I got to get out of here. It's like the most beautiful insane asylum in the nation, the New York State Legislature.
Yeah.
So Dick and I would have this fight every year, and that's not going to happen. Everything I talked about is now happening. The bathroom bill was the camel's nose under the tent. And once they got that, they cracked the door open, and then more and more stuff happens. But you got to be sick in the head to think that a grown man or even a teenage boy competing against women is somehow fair. And all we're really doing is enabling this. We're enabling this mental illness because there's something not right. Obviously, there's very little gender dysmorphia that they call it. There's very little of that. There's a whole lot of whacked out parents and teachers that convince these kids of one thing, and suddenly now it becomes cool. But put all that aside. To put, kids hit a growth spurt. My youngest son, Sean, played hockey. My other son, Danny, played baseball. They both played baseball. Sean played hockey. Danny played basketball. My point is this. Sean was skating with the girls in Troy, Albany youth hockey up until about 12, 13 years old. And before that, by the way, the girls were bigger, stronger, and more coordinated than these little guys. But about 12 or 13, they hit a growth spurt. They're big, they're strong. And then at that point, it's time for the girls to go over to girls hockey. Not that their skills weren't good. It's that it's dangerous because now they're hitting each other. Now you got these guys that are 6 foot tall. Listen, it's mental weakness. You can't compete as a man, so you got to dress as a woman and compete. I find it disgusting. I find it evil. And I find that's the reason that the Democrats are trending just slightly more popular than chicken pox right now. Because people like Tim, you're an old school, I would say a Kennedy Democrat, right? Sean, same thing. We all grew up in that same era where it was common sense. There wasn't that much difference between the two parties. The Democrats are viewed as the working class. The Republicans were for the rich. Most of that was bullshit anyway, but that's how we grew up. That ain't the truth anymore.
And Steve, look at when you challenge these people, right? You know what you hear all the time? They don't want to be marginalized, okay? They use that word all the time. Oh, you're marginalizing me, okay? It's not, okay? I grew up in the 60s, okay, and I'm basically more old school, traditional, okay? And we had names for those people back then. All right, that you
Mhm.
don't dare say today.
Well, let
Right.
me just make something clear. I'm not as old as you guys, so don't throw me into that old bullshit, right? This is years of putting up with Danny McCoy and Frank
Yeah,
Camiso and those guys down at the legislature. But here's the reality: I don't give a shit if you were born in 1700 or if you're going to be born 20 years from now. A boy's a boy and a girl's a girl. The
that's
fact that
right.
there's a debate tells me that there's a lot of screwed up people. And what really
Completely.
bothers me is that I can't bring people on who are Democrats and have this conversation because they want to figure out how to walk the tightrope. In their hearts of heart, if they got
Yeah,
daughters,
Yeah.
especially if they have granddaughters or daughters, they're not going to let Sean Morris at 25 punch his daughter in the face in a boxing match and say, well, it's,
yeah,
he can do what he wants because girls and boys, they're all the same. We're not the
Yeah.
same.
No, we're
We're
not
not
the
the same.
same. God, nature built us different. God built us different. There's a
There's a
significant difference
purpose.
between the sexes, and there's a reason for that.
well,
But even just the bone structure is different. The female
sure.
bone structure is not as thick, not as strong. It's just the way it is. I'm not
That's
saying
just
there's
the
not
way it
some
is.
women out there that
Well,
could
there.
kick our butts in MMA. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
Yeah,
you're gonna uncork a hockey puck at some young girl because you can't compete on the men's team, and you're going to potentially brain damage her. We've had a girl over in Massachusetts get her teeth knocked right out
Oh, it's
from
terrible.
a playing field hockey. We've had fractured skulls in boxing. Enough's enough. It's a sick and twisted ideology that is just enabling mental illness. That's all it is.
It
yeah, I
seems
agree.
that
I agree.
it seems that the country doesn't have directions, right? It has these moments. They have the moments of wokeness where everything, geez, if you're a comedian, you say something about a Jewish person, or if you say something about a gay person, they want to hang you. When
Yeah.
before we used to laugh. Do
Yeah.
you know that I had that happen to me right here in Cohoes? We brought a comedian in. The Cohoes Music Hall was closed down, dead. The stage was dark. The seats were empty for years,
Yeah.
right? And George Primo, who was my uncle, he runs for mayor. He wins, and he recognizes that he doesn't have a lot of money, but put some paint on there, try to open it up. And he was getting some shows and renting it out. But I turned it into what it is today, which is a booming music hall, right?
Yeah. I was there
And
Saturday.
yeah, so we brought in well, thank you for coming to Cohoes.
Yeah.
You should
I got to
stop over
help
at the
McCoy out
American
with a little sales tax revenue.
Yeah,
and so then I was saying I lost my train of thought.
Well,
This is what happens
you
when you get
painted
old.
it up. You got it
Oh,
booming,
so I
and yeah.
painted it up, and the music hall is booming, and we have a great comedian, a world class comedian come, and I get two council members. One's gay,
yeah.
and one I don't know. Maybe he don't know. I don't know. He didn't say
One's
whether he was gay or not.
partially. He's
But
partially gay.
but they went on a rampage because this guy called somebody gay and made
Yeah,
fun of somebody who was gay. And I
right.
said, listen, this is his second trip here. The last time he called me fat and bald. I said, I laughed because guess what? I'm fat and
Yeah.
bald. He calls you gay. You should laugh because you're gay.
Right.
He's an equal opportunist. But when that time was happening in that little pocket, holy shit, you couldn't do nothing. People were losing their
Oh,
jobs
geez.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then it moves into this the transgender movement, and then it moves into something else, and now it moves into reparations. Like I need to pay somebody for slavery. I wasn't alive, and there ain't a person alive that was a slave, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just continues to go on and
Well,
on, and I don't get it.
when you build a society, which when I remember, I'll tell you a quick argument I had was it wasn't even an argument, it's just a quick story. But when you build a society where everybody gets a trophy, you're just building weak people, and they can't take any opposition, and they can't take any opinion other than their own, and all this. We got to be inclusive, and you got to be able to laugh at yourself. You just have to.
hmm
You do.
It's just self-deprecate. We used to bust each other's chops. The Italians, the Irish. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Everybody was busting each other's chops. You laughed it off. If you had a disagreement, you settled it like men or whatever, and it was over. It was over.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and now
It was different
everybody's
times.
offended. Everybody's a victim, and everybody's going to sue. It's just and the problem is too many people in authority bow down to that instead of saying, all right, enough.
Exactly right.
Shut up with your nonsense. We've had it. Let me give you a great example. We're dealing with it right now in the city of Troy, where the gay pride folks aren't going to hold their parade there because the deputy mayor, who happens to be gay and a friend of mine, he supported Donald Trump. One Facebook post on his Facebook page, and they're freaking out. I'd be like,
Yeah.
get lost, go. You don't want to hold
Yeah,
your
who
parade here. See
cares?
you later.
First,
Get lost.
Steve, I'm going to be honest with you. You know, the straight shooter that you are, the straight shooter I am, I don't give a shit about their gay parade
Yeah.
because here's my point.
Yeah.
You don't have, first of all, if you don't want people to have a problem with you, don't flaunt, right?
Yeah.
We have problems right now with billionaires. Why? Oh, they flaunt their money. We have problems with this group. We have problems. Now, here's the bottom line. I don't care who you sleep with. I don't really give a shit what you do.
Right.
Go enjoy your life, but I don't go, hey, let's have a straight parade. Let's have a whole month
Well,
for straight people. I mean, if we did that,
well,
they would say,
right. I think, Sean, part of the problem that I see is that they ram it down your throat as if you have to accept their view. Okay.
Mm.
yes.
W-
And if
And, and,
everybody would just accept that,
and let them be who they are and don't bother and don't ram it down my throat. I'm good with it. Okay. But don't force me to accept their ways.
why do I need to have a parade with a bunch of men with thongs on backwards running up and down and somehow
Yeah,
expect me to
exactly.
say to my son, oh, this is the norm? How about
Exactly.
this? You know what I said to my son? There's people of all kinds of love. They love each other. They love men. I don't understand love. It is something that nobody can ever explain why it happens. But in life, that's happens.
Yeah.
And that's my explanation. Then when they march backwards with thongs on, I go, that's a problem. Now, how do
Yeah.
I explain that to him?
Yeah.
And the same thing with I understand. What is that actor? Norman Friedman. What's the black actor? Freeman, right? Is that his
Morgan.
name?
Morgan.
Morgan Freeman. The guy's fantastic, right?
Yeah.
And they asked him once, "Do you like Black History Month?" And he says,
Yeah.
"No, I don't."
Right.
He says, "Are you relevant? Is my whole life, condensed into 1 month?"
Yeah.
He says,
He's so spot on because what all that stuff that they talk about unity, but it's the exact opposite. They're always
"It's
trying to
separating."
silo people and divide us, and then complain. Look what the other side's trying to do. They're trying to divide you. No, that's what's happening from so many others. They're trying to just divide people, get us at each other's throats. I can tell you, Cuomo was famous at that. He divided out a group and look at them, they're awful. And then the next group was awful. And the next group, pretty soon, you run out of people to demonize because they're all pushed off to the side. And they go, wait, you're not a jerk, and I'm not a jerk, and we're not fascist, and we're not hateful. Maybe it's you. And then the finger comes right back at
Well, you're
somebody
right.
like Cuomo.
Why I think it's important to let American life be all of our lives because the stories are some are beautiful, some are ugly. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's the real world. When we break ourselves up into these little isolated pockets, this pluralist society of people who have their own little world they want to live in, that's not uniting. That's dividing.
Right.
Even if you don't think you're doing it.
Yeah, no, that's
I
right.
think,
And
you
it's
know,
the in your faceism that they're always, it's like you said with the over the top antics kind of. I don't even think that why act that way because now you're just offending the very people that you're trying to get to accept. You're now
yeah,
offending them. And I tell you, at our county building, we get asked all the time about flags. Fly this flag. I said, no. We
yeah,
fly
there's
the American
one flag.
flag, the county flag, and the New York State flag. And that's it, and that's the end of it. No other flag is going up our flagpole.
Doesn't the American flag represent gay, straight, black, white, yellow? That's what
Everybody.
when I
Yeah.
was the mayor and they want to put the gay flag up. I said, they have it up already.
Yeah.
Because only in America can you be gay.
Yeah.
You go to Afghanistan, they kill you. You
Yeah.
are under one flag.
Mhm.
You're not separate from us. We're all good people. We all love each other. I can't stand the fact that I have to justify what I believe by what I say if I don't support you 99.9.9.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I give you I just pulled my heart out for you. That wasn't enough. You want my balls too. I don't know what
So
else I can
right.
give to you.
That's so
So
right. Happens all the time. Like, I used to see it in the assembly. Well, I could have supported you on all this, but this one vote, now we can't support you. I'm like, that's bullshit. You were never going to support me anyway.
that's
Just
right.
using that as an excuse.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, you know what? You are the real McCoy, man. You're fun to have on the show. You're fun to hang out with. I'm really excited to watch you. I don't watch a lot of politics no more. I once I got out, I got out.
Yeah.
I do watch you. I do watch Danny McCoy. I tell Danny you're the real McCoy, and and I'm sure he's watching the show right now because he's a closet
good
watcher.
friend. He's a
Yeah,
good
he
friend
is.
of mine.
Yeah.
I think he gets a lot of grief for hanging out with me. I get no grief for hanging out with Danny.
Well, isn't that the difference between Republicans and Democrats?
Seems to
You
be.
can hang out with who you want. Nobody cares if you're a
Right.
Democrat and you hang out with the wrong people. They want to crucify you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. We
yeah,
hang out a lot. We'll have a cigar about once a week or so, and talk about what's going on. And we come at it from a different perspective sometimes. And I tell him he's wrong all the time,
Of course.
but we bust each other's chops, and we have a good time. And ultimately, we're trying to both get to the same place. It's just how we're going to get there. And some stuff we're just not going to agree on, which is fine. But we never fight about it.
yeah,
We just disagree on it, and that's the end of it. But there's a hell of a lot more that we agree on and are trying to get done. And I think the two counties are symbiotic, because I got a hell of a lot of people living in my county that work in Albany, and vice versa. He's got a lot of people over there working at Regeneron and
Yeah.
Amazon and all the other stuff. So, we need each other. And that one thing that's been weird around here for a number of years, which I think is diminishing, is that river has been such a divide. You would think it was
Yeah.
like the 1800s or something around here, that, oh my
Mhm.
God, it's the other side of the river. How can you be over there? That's changing. I think with that new bridge going in, the Livingston Ave Bridge, it's going to connect the counties even more. But Danny and I get along great. We just do. I don't. And
You know
some
what would
people
be a
don't
great
understand
show
it.
is when I get you and Danny on at the same time.
I'll definitely do
Oh,
it
I
with
know you
Danny.
will, because you got the big kahunas. Now, Danny, on the other hand, he's a guy from the military. He was a firefighter.
yeah,
I love him unconditionally.
Yeah,
Um, and I think that he just has a different point of view, because even I, as a Democrat, was a more middle of the road. He was a little more liberal. Um, but isn't the goal here not to, like, be so divided that even though you take different paths to get to the same place, isn't the
yeah.
goal to get to the same place?
Yeah, it should be. It should definitely be. And the vitriol. I mean, Danny and I don't have any of that. There's no vitriol. We don't ever fight. I mean, we just maybe we'll tease each other, disagree on things. But then there's certain people in politics that you're just not going to get along with. But it doesn't mean you don't respect them. I mean, there were people that you would think I hated this person when I was debating them on the floor of the New York State Assembly. Michelle Schimmel comes to mind. She was in New York City. Michelle was awesome. She was a New York City Democrat. I loved her. She was great. And we would just go toe to toe on gun stuff, because I'm a big Second Amendment guy and she wasn't. So if you watch those debates back in the day, you think, oh my God, these two hate each other. Not the case whatsoever. We would get off the floor, go have a cup of coffee and talk and everything. But we both had a job to do when you're on the floor of that assembly. But I like Michelle very much. And when she left, I was like, oh man, she's leaving the assembly. She was like, she was great. She was just like an old school, cool person.
Yeah.
That's just one example. But, you know, people don't get that, I think, when they see the interaction sometimes on a debate. They think that's who we necessarily hate each other. It's like two prize fighters getting in the ring. They might be
Yeah.
buddies, but they got a job to do in that ring. I would go toe to toe with Dick Gottfried and Joe Lenthal and all these Democrats back and forth. Didn't mean I didn't respect them or didn't have some affection for them. It just meant that I had a different opinion, and I had to get my opinion out to represent my people.
You can
yeah,
debate and like enemies, and at the end of the day, be best of friends. And to tell you the truth, I think that's something that's missing in the world, right? When I was
Yeah,
a kid, this is the truth. I was a young kid, didn't have a lot of money. My mother didn't have a lot of money. I used to go over and bounce at different bars before I was even old enough to have a beer, and some of the best friends that I've ever made in my life are people that I want in the back. We went out in the back of the woodshed together, beat the shit out of each other,
yeah,
picked each other up, went in and had a beer. And
yeah.
when my life was falling apart, when everything was crumbling, the people that I had those fights with, the
They
people
were
that
they were there.
they were the ones that picked up the phone and said, "Sean, how you doing?"
Yep.
And I said to my son, "You'll never ever realize that you only have a handful of friends, because there's so many out there." And I'm talking about politics. There's
Mhm.
so many out there that just suck around you to be leeches.
Yeah.
But at the end of
Mhm.
your life, you can hold your truest friends in one hand and
Dude,
never
that's
forget
so
that.
true. And the older you get, the more we recognize that and realize
And the
that,
more
you
we
know.
recognize,
so I
Steve,
imagine if Steve will be over there biting Danny McCoy's ear off, right?
And
In his next fight.
we may have a cigar today. You never know.
Yeah,
Sometimes
right.
hey,
he'll
listen,
text
if you
me.
have a cigar, tell them to text me. I'll come over with you and have one.
Listen, we'll do that for sure. And it's funny because we got a nice cigar place here that we go to private. club. There's make 35 of us. We throw in whatever, $500 a year. It's nice, right? It's not
Yeah.
over the top, but it's nice. I go to McCoy's place. It looks like a murder shack, like it's out of The Sopranos. I tell him
Yeah.
that. I'm like, first
The
time I went there,
Gambinos.
my buddy's wife was dropping me and my buddy Brian off, and we pulled in. I had never been there down that side street. I won't say where it is. And I said, just remember this address. I think McCoy's having us whacked.
Listen, at least you got to go to that place. I've been to that place a few times, but the last time I had a cigar with him, I got to sit in a garage full of like junk and a couple of lawn chairs, and he's like pulling out a cigar, and he gives me a cigar, and I go, Dan, that's like a $3, man. I got these $60 cigars. He goes, well, give me one of yours.
Yeah,
He
right.
smokes my cigar, and I'm smoking his shit cigar. But I'd
Good.
love to have a cigar with you guys. I appreciate you taking the time, Steve. I know you're a busy man. Real McCoy, great guy, balls like steel. But at the end of the day, heart as big as your county, and you helped a lot of people. I love you.
Thank
And
you,
I
man.
appreciate you being on the show, brother.
Really appreciate being here. I'll come back anytime. Hook up me and McCoy, and I'll text you, and we'll get a cigar.
Yeah, well, here's what's going to happen. Danny says he's going to text me in about 3 years from now. I get a text. Hey, what's up? So next time you go, say I got to call Sean because I'm the real McCoy, not you.
You let the real McCoy handle it with the
That's
other
what I'm
McCoy,
saying.
and we'll get it done.
Okay,
Good to see you, Steve. Take care,
All right,
brother.
guys.
Thank you.
Bye.